Welcome to the Ear Swap Podcast, where we swap ears for a week.
That's right.
This week we're continuing our breakup albums series for a late Valentine's Day.
Yeah. A little late, but you can get broken up with at any time.
I mean, maybe your Valentine's went really bad and now you're going through a breakup.
Yeah, you can get broken up with at any time. It does not discriminate.
Yep, no.
Not one bit.
So we will be covering Joaquin's pick, which is Amy Winehouse's
Back to Black. Yeah, this is an album You know what's nuts? Okay, so the whole reason I got into Amy Winehouse was because of my story on Short Stories, the first episode when I got roofied.
Yeah.
I stayed home for a week because I had like a horrible hangover essentially from being roofied and hitting my head on the ground and getting concussion. Whatever.
And shitting your pants.
And shitting my pants. Can't forget that part. Yeah. I stayed home that whole week, and I think at the end of that week, I watched the documentary Amy. I was like, I'll check it out, see what Amy Winehouse is about. And then I watched the whole thing, and I was like, holy fuck, she was massively talented. And really felt her lyrics and was feeling all that. So I started listening to her and just fell in love with this record. As a correlation, that's probably the best thing that came out of me getting roofied was I got into Amy Winehouse.
Yeah. This was her last record too, right?
Yeah, second record and last record. Yep.
Damn.
So I would like to know for you, what did you think of this album? I know it's stylistically maybe not something you listen to.
Yeah, definitely stylistically not my cup of tea so much. Yeah. But after the second listen through, I think I was kind of able to pull that apart a little more.
Yeah.
I do she was very, very talented.
100%.
Good songwriter. Great breakup album, by the way. It is a very good breakup album. Especially the songs. Track listing. Where are you? The title track, Back to Black. Excellent. Love is a Losing Game, I think, is my favorite.
Really?
Yeah,
that's a great one.
Damn good song. Yeah, it's not a record I would see myself enjoying as much as but I found a lot of great things in it.
Okay.
So, it's just kind of cool. Stylistically, the 60s soul and very 60s doo-woppy
R&B,
which you don't hear a lot of. I mean, I don't listen to that. I guess I don't hear.
I like a lot of.
Okay.
I listen to a lot of
You don't hear as much of that at the popularity level that this was.
100%.
Because I heard fucking Rehab everywhere. For years.
Yeah.
And
it was the
to
biggest
the point
song.
It annoyed the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
So, but it's been long enough. It doesn't annoy me anymore.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's this album was massive.
Massive. I mean, the fact that it was an album of that style and, what was it? 2006 was when the first single was released, which was Rehab. To shoot up to this kind of fucking popularity was crazy. I mean, to me, it's on the level of Nirvana becoming popular at that time. It was what the fuck is this after hair metal? This was one of those things that's why is this popular? But it had something that was familiar, but also pushing it to a modern degree.
Yeah.
I think that's why it was popular. And Rehab was it's catchy as fuck.
It's very catchy.
Even though the lyrics are incredibly fucked up.
Yes.
It's a catchy song.
There's a lot of fucked up lyrics on this.
A ton of it. Yeah.
She didn't seem very happy.
No, no, not really. No. I mean, another example of somebody. Yeah. I didn't realize we did that actually until we were filming that. We both picked artists that are no longer with us.
Well, we didn't know that we were picking what we were picking.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. Yep. I don't really know a ton about Amy Winehouse. I know she was a kind of controversial figure. She was always the bad girl and all the time, and she was always in the news about something.
Yeah.
Do you think this would have had as big of a draw without that?
That's a good question. I think
kind of a spectacle to Amy Winehouse.
There is, and I think at that time, it was coming into age of internet culture. And it was also the paparazzi was still horrible. Yes. I mean, the paparazzi is still bad, but at this time when you had Britney Spears and and all these like massive pop artists that they just fucking follow everywhere. You had no sense of privacy whatsoever. In a different light. Now the internet, you don't have privacy in a different light. But I think a combination of, you know, her already struggling with a lot of like addiction issues and self-destructive behavior, and then she makes this record, which was actually made in a period of sobriety. And then the record ends up becoming big, and then you lose control of your life. So then you go back to the things that you know to try to comfort you. So then she goes back to self-destructive behavior. I think it was a combo of both things, though. You know, like there's always that, what's she gonna do next? You know, kind of thing. And she was also just a polarizing, like looking person, big hair, and you know, like had all these tattoos, and
it was like the 50s style of hair, mixed with like very modern
2000s fashion, which looks very dated now.
Yeah, it looks old now, but at the time, like that was.
I'm sure it'll come back in 5 years.
Interesting combo.
Yeah,
and not something you saw every day.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a combo of both. You know, especially when people heard the song Rehab, and then she's out there doing things involving drugs and alcohol. It was like, what the fuck is this? Like, people are like, oh. I think some people feed off of other people's self-destruction a lot, too. Like, people eat that shit up.
They do.
You know? For whatever reason, I think it's a way to make other humans feel better about themselves. Like, fuck, I'm glad I'm not that person, you know?
Yeah.
As bad as that is, I think that's a thing that happens quite frequently. But this record's great, and she was really on some really good songwriting, and she had been touring a little bit before this and had one record, which is called Frank, that did pretty well. And then she got rid of her manager and longtime friend and found a new manager, and then her dad got involved, and then she got surrounded by producers and went down that route. Which there is a band that plays on this record. But the producer is Mark Ronson, which at the time he also wasn't like top dog producer like he is now. He is one of the biggest producers out there.
Mark Ronson.
100%.
Oh, yeah,
he's done so many amazing records.
A lot of stuff. A lot of highly popular stuff.
Yep. So he's done Christina Aguilera. He worked with Bruno Mars a lot.
Uptown Funk.
Yeah, he did that. Like he's the shit. This guy is a great producer. So on the train of Mark Ronson, there is actually a good video of him explaining writing the song Back to Black. And I'll link that in the description. So he talks about the process of him working with Amy initially. And he loved her because she was so upfront when she didn't like something. She'd just be like, it was never personal. She'd be like, no, I don't like that role. You know? She was like,
I forget she's freaking British.
Yeah.
Her music sounds very American.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, it's what's the genre is.
Yeah.
Extremely American. So.
Yeah. She would just tell him like, I don't like that. Yeah. Whatever. And that's where the song Rehab came from, where she was like, my dad, you know, they tried to make me go rehab. I was like, no. And Mark was like, oh, that's a good hook. You know, that's a good line. But then the lyric behind itself is like her dad, everybody around her was trying to get her to go to rehab, and her dad said no. And she took her dad's opinion, like with everything, you know, which obviously became some of her demise, was her dad taking advantage of her fame and popularity for his own sake. But yeah, like they took that lyric, and that's why it's like, she says, my daddy says I'm fine. And that song, that's because of that. And it's just so crazy to me. I'm like, that song is one of the biggest songs of the 2000s, and it's so dark.
It's very dark. Yeah, I mean, especially in hindsight, it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And there's also, on the song Rehab as well, there's a good series that Reverb.com does called What's That Sound? And it's them recreating drum sounds. And the drum sound on Rehab was recorded with one mic.
Interesting.
And I'll link this video as well. That's a very good series. I love that series. They recreate drum sounds from all sorts of records. And I'll link that, but they recreate that. It's just a bass drum, a snare, and a hi-hat. And cool. They EQ it to where it like all comes out, but it's recorded one mic, which is really cool, I think. Oh. So production-wise, sounds like a 60s record.
Did they use mics from the 60s?
I mean, I'm sure they did.
It sound like the vocal, it kind of clips out at times. I mean, they could do that digitally too, I guess.
But I
think they probably used.
I think I watched a video of Mark talking about the mic he used for Amy. on this, and I think it was an old.
It sounds like
mic.
it to me. I don't know the terminology or anything, but it just sounds like old vocal recording to me.
Yeah, I think he used an old ribbon mic for Amy's voice because that was what she kind of wanted, you know? Yeah. So yeah, there's a video on that. I'll link that as well. There's so many good videos on the production of this, especially with Mark.
Highly documented person.
Yeah.
Yeah. To her death, basically.
Yeah, to her death. So I love this album a lot. It's a great breakup album. The song "You Know I'm No Good" I liked a lot because it's about her own self-destruction and like ruining a good relationship for herself because she just can't help herself. You know. My favorite song on here is "Tears Dry on Their Own." I've always loved that song. It's so beautiful. It's just really good. This whole album just absolutely smacks.
All the songs. I mean, there's some quieter ones, but they have like a very big presence, like full band show, like going to just like almost like a Vegas show for Amy Winehouse. Like, it's everything's so big and over the top and full, and I thought that was really cool. Yeah,
and Mark Ronson's a big part of that. And I was reading that initially the mixes Mark did for this album were really 60s, which if you listen to any 60s record, it's like drums are panned completely to the right with guitar and bass, and then you have strings and backing vocals and a vocal center. Like, it's really unusual. And he sent those mixes, and the guy who ended up getting was like, no, this isn't going to work.
Like headphones then.
Yeah.
Or driving in their car listening.
Yeah.
I mean, they had car radios, but
it was also like people were experimenting with stereo. Yeah, like that wasn't a thing until that point.
For sure.
And so this record ended up not really being mixed by Mark Ronson, and they made it more accessible. Like Rehab wouldn't have been as big if it wasn't if it was mixed like that. Yeah. You know, just there's so many little details that go into the release of a song to what makes a song popular. Yeah. And there's just little shit like that, like mixing left and right. You know, what makes a song sound full, what makes a song get to you, catch you, you know.
For sure.
And it takes all the sort of right pieces to get there.
I think the only song I didn't care for was Just Friends.
Yeah, that's always not been my favorite either.
I don't really like the reggae beat thing with it, and it felt like the weakest song to me. I felt like everything else kind of flowed well together, and starting with Rehab, ending with Addicted, like it tells like this like loop of a story.
Yeah.
And also Hindsight, very sad.
There you go.
So.
Oh shit! I about spilled my coffee on my computer. This vinyl edition has a remix on it, which is really fucking weird. And it's very jarring, and it's a remix of it's like a secret track.
Oh, is it not on the record?
I think it is. I think it's a remix of Back to Black, isn't it? With like a rapper.
Track 11, written by Amy Winehouse. Blah, 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 blah.
Why can't I think of it?
Ghostface Killer.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
And it's really weird, but whatever.
I didn't care for that.
It wasn't on the original release.
Yeah.
This is a repress.
I listened to it once and I didn't listen to that song again.
Yeah, this one's a repress, which has the alternate album cover to it. It's also a pink record, which is pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah, I really love this album, but I think there's so much like tragedy to the story of what this album did to her in terms of her life. Like, she went down a really dark path of eating disorders and, you know, alcoholism, addiction, horrible relationships, you know, while also being under a spotlight all the fucking time where people are exploiting that nasty part of you.
She also ended up marrying the guy that a lot of these songs are about.
Yeah.
And then that didn't last very long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
the epitome of unhealthy relationship, and he was, you know, they were both enabling each other to they eventually get into heroin and all sorts of shit. And her parents exploited her, didn't really take her bulimia seriously. From her mom didn't, and this is open in the documentary Amy, which is very good. But her dad, I think, was the real scumfuck in all of this. I'm going to be honest. Like when she was like recovering from drugs and stuff and an eating disorder, he decided to bring a film crew to show like, hey, here's what a parent's life is for a star.
That's really
while she's trying to recover. Yeah. So it's tragic, you know. She was a very talented artist. I would have loved to have seen her make more music.
Yeah.
Genuinely. But and this album was already huge before she died. It wasn't like she died and it became big. Like, and her live show was incredible. If there's all the live performance, she had like a full, fantastic lineup of musicians and dancers.
You would have to perform these songs correctly. I think,
so. Yeah. So I mean, she shot to fame, and then it shot her down really quickly. And it would have been great to see her go into deeper, because she could have done so much musically,
Yeah.
And she did some really incredible things. She recorded with what is that, Tony Bennett? Yeah. No, was that Amy Winehouse? Yeah, it is. So there's a Tony Bennett, Amy Winehouse, Body and Soul, which is cool. And there's video of her in the studio with him, and that's like her fucking idol. Like, she's shaking.
That's wild.
And she's like a massive star. She's like, oh my God, I'm with Tony Bennett. So that's really cool. Kind of a good moment to see of her. But yeah, she ultimately died of alcoholism. She also had an eating disorder, which made her body really weak, and she drank herself to death essentially on accident.
Yeah.
But her heart was weak, when you kind of like do that shit all the time.
She's tiny.
Yeah.
Tiny.
Yeah, I mean,
so like,
yeah,
wouldn't take much, I guess.
Yeah, was really sad, and she would go through bouts of sobriety and then relapse, and they found a bunch of vodka in her room, kind of shit, But it wasn't so much like. I don't think anybody intends on overdosing for the most part, but when you try to go back to the amount that you were drinking or using, that's how most overdoses happen, and just it goes until your body can't,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
this shows how little I know about this genre, but I was listening to it and I was like, that would make a good like Bond theme song for a movie. Do you think she would eventually have gotten that? Because I mean, like, she inspired Adele, right?
Yeah.
And like Adele did one, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Amy definitely would have.
She would have been great at it. So
she would have been perfect. Mm-hmm. And she could have had she's to me one of like the saddest deaths of talent to happen.
Okay.
Like because she only made 2 records really, and then there's like obviously bootlegs and shit like that, and like other songs she's done, but like
tons of B-side stuff.
B-sides.
She covered Monkey Man.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
On the big monkey man. That song?
Oh, I've never heard that one.
It's a good song. The original one by they have a funny name. I had it pulled up. Toots and the Maytals.
And the Rolling Stones covered that one too. Apparently. Unless it's a different song. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. Also, the Specials covered it.
Oh, okay.
They did a really good version. So.
Yeah. She was also in like a weird time frame of like MTV was still kind of a thing, so she had a lot of music videos, which you can watch on the internet, of course. But she had a lot of music videos, and it was also like in this crosshair of internet and paparazzi. Like she was in like just so many crosshairs of like publicity.
Yeah. That
I can't even fucking imagine. I consider her one of like, I don't know, like she happened, and then Justin Bieber happened. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Amy was like she's more in the relation of like Nirvana popularity than like Justin Bieber popularity. Like in terms of poppiness, like I felt like she was more original in what she was doing and authentic than like, oh, I found some kid on YouTube and now I'm going to make him a star.
Which,
like,
I mean, Justin Bieber was for children too.
Yeah.
So,
but he was the biggest shit, like a couple years after that,
That's weird.
But Amy was like really into that 60s shit, like, and I love those records. That's like kind of what inspired me was I listened to this record and I did the thing where it's like, let me listen to what they listen to.
Yeah.
And I found so many great soul records that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I can see that.
And it's like Britton Wood. That's a really good album. Oogum Boogum. That one. I love that record.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
It's a fun listen. They're really crazy records.
Okay.
Actually.
You'll have to show me those sometime.
Yeah, but yeah, so what did you upon listening to it, like did you think like did you kind of immediately pick up on the breakupness of it and like that sort of battle of dealing with the breakup?
Yeah. I feel like the first time I listened to it was mostly just music that I was listening to. Like I wasn't focusing on the lyrics so much, but Definitely a breakup album.
Yeah.
Like I said, Love is a Losing Game. Like, that's a good song. That's still my favorite on the record.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd rate it high on the breakup scale as well. I don't know, what should we do?
Tears.
5 out of 5 breakup tears. And for the like production, like looking at this like without my opinion in it of like whether or not I want to listen to this, it's like 4.5. It's way up there. It's like very, very well done, very well written. Vocals are amazing.
Yeah.
So I'd give it 4 tiers there.
Okay.
But I don't know if I'm going to go back and listen to this record very much though. It's not really my cup of tea. Which is the whole point of the show is I think it's good for people to listen to things that are not in their wheelhouse so much.
Yeah.
And I value that a lot. So I'm glad I listened to it.
Yeah.
But it's I don't think it's like I'm not just like an R&B soul guy now. Like, that's just not
I've converted you.
This is not going to snap over like that. But no, it's I mean, I knew it was a well-regarded record.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't know half these songs that I had heard were Amy Winehouse. That's how little I paid attention to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen to the whole record. Like, it's a solid record.
So, are you surprised that it was as popular of a record as it was after listening to it?
It's more, I'm surprised that it's actually quality and how popular it was. Because I knew it was super popular, so I was just like, it's probably shit.
Yeah.
And I never listened to it because most pop music at that time was fucking awful.
Oh, yeah.
It was terrible. So, yeah. I'm just surprised that there's like quality here.
Yeah. And that's what I've always found amazing about this record. Because I felt the same way. I was like, I heard Rehab everywhere. And I was like, I don't know what the rest of this record's like. And then when I listened to it, I was like, dude, there was something to this. Like, this was literally, I think, such a rare moment. It was probably the only moment of its kind in popular music and culture in the 2000s that could happen like that.
I typed in top songs of 2006. I'm just going to read the ones that are funny to me. Evanescence.
Wow.
Rascal Flatts. Nelly Furtado. I like that Snow Patrol song, Chasing Cars. That's actually a good song.
Oh, of course you like that one.
Life is a Highway by Rascal Flatts from the Cars soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. I remember that shit.
Yeah, and I mean, just what you'd expect for the most part. Snow Heyo by
Chili Peppers.
Fuck yeah. That year. A couple Neo songs. Smack That, Akon. There you go. That's all you need to know.
Smack That. I like that song.
Yeah. I mean, yes, but... yeah.
But yeah, for me, tears-wise, I give it a 5 out of 5 with or without the breakup.
Okay.
I really love this album. One of my favorites of all time, for sure. And the production on it and the attitude on it is like really good.
Oh, she's got an attitude.
She's got attitude, baby. She's got that PMA. When she recorded it. Yeah, right.
I don't know if it's positive.
Positive. During the record, maybe she had a little bit of PMA. But there's that thing, though, like we talked about on The Frightened Rabbit. Like, she got all this out, but it still ended up in the fucking same relationship with the guy.
Yeah. Ended up in a relationship. I mean, her dying of alcoholism kind of fits with everything she's saying in this. It's like, yeah. I mean, that's gonna...
You either beat it or you don't. I mean, there's no other way to...
She almost, like, indulged in it in some of these songs.
Yeah. She it's almost like it's a weird thing with like alcoholic brains where you like romanticize it so much that you're like, oh, I'm gonna be at the bar and like get loaded and like it's so great. I'm an alcoholic. Awesome. You know, it's so fucking crazy. Like, it honestly is.
Yes.
But like, yeah, I hear that in her lyrics of like romanticizing that kind of shit and that sort of like that unholy war that goes on in your head is fucking crazy. So, yeah. I'm glad you listened to this. I'm glad. I'm
like
glad
I said, I'm glad
I
I listened to it too. I think it's super well made. Mm-hmm. Very high quality.
HQ, baby.
It's just not for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's. I'm not the target demographic either. Let's be honest. So,
I mean, you like sad boy music though.
I do.
This
like
record's pretty sad.
It is sad. Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
Just because you're sad doesn't mean you're sad with everything, right?
Exactly. And I mean, it's, we go through enough music on here. We're not going to completely put them all in our,
I'd say there's been maybe more.
iPod Mini shuffle.
I'd say there's been more albums I haven't. I don't know. I feel like there's more albums I haven't consistently listened to.
Yeah.
There's a few albums that have stuck out for me on this show, but
yeah. We also set this up so we have to listen to what we are supposed to listen to, and we don't get to explore as much of stuff we already like. So
yeah,
that's fine.
I gotta indulge in a lot of music.
Yeah.
Gotta set aside that time, but yeah. Well, I think this was a good little fun time.
Mm-hmm. Let us know what you think about Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, I know.
Also, Frightened Rabbit, because we didn't say that on that episode, but yeah,
I thought we did. I
don't know.
I thought
you might have said it. I didn't say it.
I said it.
Okay.
And let me know what you think of my Hershey's Hulk promo shirt. This was my dad's from 2003, and I'm wearing it, and it's also Kylie's.
And speaking of shirts, we have shirts for sale still.
Earswap shirts.
Earswap shirts.
Yeah.
Just slap up the thing.
Yeah.
It's up there.
earswappod.bandcamp.com. Go on there. We got stickers.
We got stickers. The stickers they're good.
Yeah, they're fun. They're holographic. Yeah, we're like we say every episode, we're figuring this thing out. We're doing it.
That's good.
We'll figure it out here in a couple of years.
10 years down the line, we'll have this in the bag.
You'll be 40. I'll be 30. That'd be crazy.
You'll be more than 30.
I'd be 34, 35.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're not that far. I always think we're 10 years apart.
You're not 20 years old, though. No, you're not that young.
Plot twist. I'm actually 20.
Oh,
I'll be 25 this year.
Cool.
Stoked.
I'm going to be 32. I'm thinking about having a Sweet 32 party. That's twice as sweet as a Sweet 16.
I absolutely think
I think that'd be really funny. I don't really like birthday parties, though, so that might not be the best. But, yeah.
Hey, man, it's coming up soon. Do you remember when I said that to you in December? I was like, yeah, dude, your birthday's coming up soon.
I was like, 10 months. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, dude, pretty quick.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get out of here. So thanks for listening. Follow us on all the bullshit. You can find it. It's 2023. You can find our podcast if you're looking for it.
Yeah, if you really care
Although
about music.
Google does autocorrect to ear swab.
We gotta do
something.
That,
so
I'm gonna call the people at Google.
Yes.
I got an insider.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Oh, we have next episode. What are we gonna cover? What do you think we're gonna cover? It's gonna be my pick.
It's your pick, baby. I don't know.
I'm picking The Shape of Punk to Come by Refused.
To Come, huh?
To Come. The Shape of Punk to Come. You ever heard this band?
Is it Refused or
Refused? Refused. You've probably heard New Noise. That was the anthem of every extreme sports video.
Okay.
In the
came
late
out
90s.
in 98.
98, yeah, same year as Undertow, right?
No, Undertow came out in 93.
93.
I was born in 98, though.
Oh, okay, maybe that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Correlates directly. Refused are fucking dead.
Yes.
The Refused Party Program. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm interested to see what you think about that. I think it's a classic. So
it's a punk record, huh?
It's kind of like a post-punk, more,
okay.
Almost more post-hardcore-y. I think you'll be into it though.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out.
I'm not much of a punk guy, man. I've never listened to punk.
You don't play in punk bands or anything.
I've never been in a punk band in my life, actually. Strictly.
Go listen to Bad Eyes, I think is what he's saying.
We have no music out yet.
They have stickers, though, so if you come to a show, you can get a sticker.
And we have shirts.
So come to Wichita, Kansas, and see them.
Yeah, Lars.
Yeah.
Lars.
Oh, yeah, fly down.
Hang
out. Joaquin's got a couch right here. He can crash.
You do. Yeah, you can crash in here.
He's my favorite.
Lars is better than me, too.
He's given us 2 comments. I don't care. I like him.
Yeah.
So
I love him. I love you, Lars.
All right. Well, we need to wrap this up. So
yep.
Goodbye.
All right. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
It's like those axe throwing bars. I can
That's the craziest idea to me.
It's insane. I can go in my backyard and throw an axe.
Well, they let people drink.
Yeah.
While they fucking throw axes.
Throwing axes. Yeah.
Oh, this is episode 22, huh?
22.
God, that's crazy.
It's 20.
22. That's fucking nuts, isn't it?
It's wild. I like how your dad commented on the
episode.
episode.
Dude, he's the best. I love him. Thanks for the shout out. It's like, I know he'll appreciate that. He actually listens to him and watches them. So is Talon.
Do you listen to Oatmeal's Done?
I don't know. I haven't confronted him on that.
I bet he has.
He's probably like, oh, I don't want to mention that. Until I go to my parents and I walk and he goes, Oatmeal's Done. I bet he'd fucking do that too.
He probably will.
Oh, God, that'd be so funny.